discussing all things ordinals, Bitcoin, and more. Let's get back to the Orange Cubicle.
Welcome to Orange Cubicle. We got J25, we got Kramer, we got 1 and 2 out, we got J-Rod, and we got Bitmamba on today. And so we're going to just discuss bitmaps, and we're going to discuss Bitmap Emporium. So how's everybody doing?
Good.
Maps, baby.
Man, that's good. That's good to hear y'all. That's good to hear y'all. Yeah, man. So maybe we could start off with J-Rod. Just give us a brief introduction, like how did you hear about bitmaps, and what was your initial thoughts about bitmaps?
Yeah, I first heard about bitmaps back in June. I was on vacation. My buddy Execute was sending messages all over Twitter, and I was in Mexico. I didn't take my computer, so I was like just monitoring all my social media. And then the first thing that I did as soon as I landed, I started inquiring what exactly it was, and I remember him telling me, "Bro, just start minting." So I minted back then, right before the blockout. I was able to mint a good amount, and it was just something at that time that a lot of people were kind of like speculating. I assumed that it would be big at some point in the future. I didn't think it was gonna start to take off the way it did at the conclusion of last year. So basically I minted, and then there was a couple changes that kind of transpired after blockout, and I knew pretty much put that wallet away and started like focusing on other BRC20s, and here we are today. There's a lot of development right now going on Bitmap. Excited to be part of that whole minting experience. It was awesome. I remember I was doing a lot of minting, at various hours of the day. We're going to bitfeet.live. I was kind of like looking at more into the way that the bitmaps looked. So I was kind of attracted, thinking to myself, oh, perhaps I could sell one of these to somebody who would want a bitmap just based on the way that they look, versus kind of like a metaverse. I knew that there were talks of a metaverse, but yeah, that's my thing on bitmaps. I have all my bitmaps. I never sold one bitmap. I love bitmap, and I'm pro bitmap, bro.
Nice. So you didn't stake any?
No. Oh yeah. Okay. So I did stake some bitmaps in Merlin Seal. And my theory on that is that there was a lot of bitmaps that went into the seal, and if something ever happened, God forbid, to that process,
yeah,
bitmap is going to suffer anyway. So irregardless, you have your bitmaps in the seal or you have them in your wallet, if something happens, it's going to affect us all. I didn't stake them all, but I staked a good amount, but and if it takes off, we all win as well. So we're all in it together. All in it together.
Yeah. Execute. Actually, I met Execute, and when I met him was during Bitmap, probably maybe the second week. This was before we called blockout, and I remember him coming in. He was in somebody else's space. I'm trying to remember. Was it like a post chain, or it was somebody else's space? And me and him were the only ones talking. Huh?
Zen, maybe.
I never liked Zen. I never got to the Zen space. But he was there, and I was like, "Oh man, you got the post? Is that a post punk?" Because he had the colors, and he was like, "Yeah, just minted out yesterday or like early that week." And I was like, "What? They came out with them?" And that was like the first like punks on post chain. So I was like, "Yeah, you know about bitmaps?" Because I was talking about that. He's like, "Yeah, I've already been minting them or something." And I think Block 6 was the person who told him about it. So we just talked briefly about bitmaps then. and he was just telling me how he was just minting like crazy. So I just started minting more. And yeah, so that's my story. That's how I met Execute. But I already had known about it. But Bitmamba, you able to talk about your story about Bitmaps, how you heard about it and what your initial thoughts were?
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know. I was just doing my thing, kind of minting a bunch of. I think when Bitmap came across my desk, so to speak, I was like, I was sold on the whole curse meta. I was just curating a lot of curse different things and spending my time, going down that rabbit hole, and just the algorithm just was like, "Yo, Bitmap." I'm like, huh? I looked at it. It only took me like 5 minutes to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm going in." I sent a message group chat, "Yo, about this." Of course, you got the
Naysayers.
fade, and I'm like, "Yo, I probably just, it's cheap. Just throw a couple dollars at it." Of course, nobody did it but me. I went in. Matter of fact, King Titus, he did. I think he ended up throwing like $50 at it or something. He ended up getting like 50 maps. A lot of people they could have we all could have put a lot more, but
Yeah.
a lot of people was kicking themselves, later down the road. But so yeah, it came across the desk, and I went balls deep. Just kept registering them, like that.
Yeah. I got some that was front ran more than some people even got themselves, right? So it was crazy, bro, back then.
I'm
But
actually curious. I don't think I've ever heard Kramer's story. Like, yeah, what was yours?
J25 got a funny story.
I can tell mine next. Yeah, mine's the worst, so we'll do it last.
Not the bitmaps. I think Jack Lou was
Okay.
Hosting the space, yep.
he was doing hosting the space. We all got in. And I think that was probably I think that was when I was just starting to break out of my shell and started to talk to people on spaces. And got on that space for a moment.
It was still 4 digits then. I remember because I was on the space talking.
Yeah, dude. It was just like day 1 or day 2 of minting that shit. And yeah, it just made sense to me immediately. So I started minting them, and I was trying to go for 1,000 of them, but I got
front ran.
by like about 150 of them or so.
Crazy.
And yeah, then I started selling them when they got around like $50 or whatever. But I held on to a good chunk of them. Still got them. I got a bunch staked in the Merlin still. And yeah, I've kind of I was talking about this the other day in the spaces, like the ones I got right now. I like, even though I got a good chunk, like I don't want to sell them because like they're like mostly 5 digits, and like they got like historic, all the values of them. I'm like totally into
Or
it.
the
Like,
things that you found that you think are historic.
exactly.
That's what was interesting, because I heard J-Rod talking about how like he liked the look, and it made me think of when you were talking about this the other day, when you're like, oh yeah, well I found all these things that I like, so it's hard for me to part with any of them.
Yeah, you got the punks.
Everybody
like,
found their random thing that they
all
clicked
the
with.
random stuff, man. Like,
Yeah.
it looks like abstract art. Like, I totally got into it. And I really believe like a metaverse like backed on Bitcoin is like a great idea. I mean, it's like super long-term hold, but I minted them for like $1 to $2. It was like, even though they've taken a kind of a dip lately, it's like, I mean, it's still a great investment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can give mine. I was shown it when it was into the 6 digits. There might have been a few 5 digits left. I did exactly one, and then faded it until I got some at, a little bit more. So I still got a handful, maybe like 25 or so now. Moving on up through the scale, and yeah, I definitely lean more towards looking at it as like a tokenized play, with wrap maps coming up and obviously getting it a little bit later. So I wasn't looking at the details like you were. I was accepting like I'm getting floor ones. I did get some 5 digits and was able to grab some of those off the floor. So, maybe those will have a little premium down the line, like you said, longer term. But mainly, yeah, I fell into the FUD and didn't, take a whim on inscribing. But it was also not something I was doing a whole lot of because I did have like the BRC 20s from the spring where I, took a decent amount of cracks at it and a lot of them just petered out, right? So I was probably a little gun shy on just like throwing things into the wishing well as it is and going from there. But congrats to you guys, and it's definitely been a fun ride. We've seen a bit of a backslide, but like J Rod mentioned, there's been interesting projects popping up. So I know you don't want to go too far into it, but can you just give us like some broad strokes of Bitmap Emporium and like why it's intrigued you?
Yeah, so I first found Bitmap Emporium at the end of December. I think it was like the 31st. The founder of an upcoming exchange, the VVV, basically made a tweet out kind of highlighting Limitless and that, to pay attention. He was a dox whale and to pay attention on, what he was going to do. Shortly after, I started kind of, diving right into the rabbit hole and basically, over the course of the next week, especially the first week of January, Limitless started to talk about Bitmap and how, it was, projected to be Bitcoin's first metaverse. He was very bullish. And also during that time, he established a Discord channel known as a waiting room. At that time, I forgot how many members there were, but I was kind of like one of the first. Now I just checked, there are about 10K participants in this waiting room. So it's all organic. It's about, 2.5 months approximately. And I started kind of trying to figure out who Limitless was. And what I learned is that he has a Neo Tokyo, he was a Neo Tokyo citizen. And that project was very successful in 2021. That project was known as a crypto gaming Illuminati. And that whole process to become a resident, it was a free mint, but it actually was a very complicated process to participate in that mint.
And
So
just
I
to
kind of
sorry,
put,
just to clarify, he wasn't involved in making that project. He was like a resident or a citizen. Like he got into that project as being an owner, right? Or
that's
like
correct. Yeah.
investing in the project, right? Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a citizen that actually made the first cut. They had
Mm-hmm.
various levels of their minting.
Completed the whole
He
vetting process. Yeah, yeah.
correct.
Cool.
So yeah, he was part of that project. And then, I also started to, read up into his tweets, learning that he came into Ordinals probably around the same time, if not earlier than I did. So I only came like in May. The intriguing part is that he sees the next big thing in crypto. I think kind of like all of us here is everything is going to be coming to Bitcoin. And, he's communicated that in several tweets. His tweets aren't like a typical person. They're very professional. And right away I was drawn to it. And I've just been pretty much exhorting all of my energy into the Bitmap Emporium. We're currently there's details that recently came out, kind of like at the beginning of the month, if I'm not mistaken. But there's 2 phases to partake. It's going to be a gated ordinals drop. We're currently
Okay.
in phase 1, which is an engagement phase. Once that phase is concluded, we go into phase 2, and that will be a very code heavy phase, which I'm assuming will be similar to Neo Tokyo.
Okay.
So He also mentioned today earlier that there's going to be 2 different ways to upload, which I'm kind of curious on what that's going to look like. And he also said that quote unquote residents will rule, things remain unrevealed, faces will be melted. So the things remain unrevealed. It's the whole mystery thing that has a lot of people's attention on this project. We know that he has referred to 699.524.bitmap as being home to the Bitmap Emporium. He's also alluded to residents of the Bitmap Emporium being the Illuminati. And he uses that word Illuminati, automatically I start thinking of Neo Tokyo. They were the crypto gaming Illuminati. The founder of the VVV has recently highlighted him again, saying that he's a good person and that he's projecting a massive gains for anybody that's successful and for taking this. Today Limitless also mentioned that the upload, for some, upload will be calm, for others it will be crowded, many won't make it. So if people get their wallets whitelisted, it's going to be a very calm process, in my opinion, just based on that. For others, it's going to be a first come, first serve process. The gates are open, and it's rushing to
your normal guaranteed tier and first come, first serve chaos tier. Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
So
thank you for that info.
It's
Do we know
more than usual?
Do you know like the total amount collection supply? Do we know?
I know you want to know. I don't know. There are a couple of guys in my group. They were thinking it was going to be the parcels in that bitmap, but nobody knows for certain. And I think there's only like 300 and something parcels. I think it's going to exceed that, definitely.
I want to get it to Mamba in a second, but I was curious, did you look into that bitmap? Is there anything that like caught your eye about that specific bitmap, why he calls it home or anything like that?
So I've looked at that bitmap back in January, and if I can recall correctly, there are 90 bitmaps in that wallet. There's a couple of there's a lot of NAT tokens as well, a lot of NAT inscriptions, and there are 2 founders pass, inscribed space founders passes, which I do recall Limitless tweeting about that as well. So I'm pretty positive that that's the wallet that's going to be associated, one of the wallets associated with Bitmap Emporium. But nothing else that caught my eye. Everything is still such a big mystery.
For sure.
Yeah.
I was going to transition to you, Mamba. What's kind of catching your eye, whether it be bitmap adjacent, or even just transitioning in the market?
Definitely the Emporium. Excited to see how that transpires.
Okay. I didn't know if you were following too.
Of course, then this is a big mystery behind this Uniworld stuff. So, and only reason I think that could have some potential just because Unisat is behind that, and they're planning on going on to the App Store. So I mean, we'll see how that pans out. I mean, what they say is duplication is the best form of flattery. So, I mean, a lot of people always used to say, in the early bitmap days, well, what if another company comes along and I'm like, oh, I mean, it's possible, but we got the group consensus, we have the huge community, so it'll be interesting to see how this Uniworlds pans out, just because who's actually backing it. I mean, outside of that, definitely excited for the runes, coming up here. We're about 3 weeks away. How far away are we now?
Yep, right about there. I think 24, 5 days, something like that.
It'll be definitely interesting to see how this all pans out. It's a lot of hype, a lot of
transition period, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. So just, you know, just gotta stay to the computer and keep your
See
ear.
what's next.
Yeah, because I mean, it's tough. I mean, I'm still in the rat race, so
Yeah.
but I'm pretty flexible as well for the most part. So I'm usually online throughout the day, but you got to be locked and loaded, ready to roll because it's a
Mhm.
up season. Sure, some of
Yeah.
us are around many cycles. You've seen certain things, wish you've done things differently, or whatever the case is.
Yeah, that's
No,
a good point, actually. Sorry to jump in, but we talked
yeah,
like about how your bitmap story started. Maybe give us Mom, we'll start with you and then go to J-Rod. Just your Web3, broad strokes. Just give us a quick TLDR on what got you into Web3.
okay, so I mean, I've always been into, my main thing that got me into internet related stuff was domaining, like way back in the day. I mean,
I remember that.
at one point I was running like almost 1,000 Japanese mini sites making a killing just on Google AdSense back in the day. Like, I was shit like that. And but fast forward to probably like March of last year, a good buddy of mine that we domain together. I mean, even as far back as then, he was like, I had did some a little bit of I didn't buy many ETH NFTs or Sol NFTs, but I mean, I always was into Bitcoin. We'll go to the Bitcoin conferences, NFT conferences, XYZ. So he calls me up. He's like, "Yo, uh, Ordinals. I don't know what he's talking about. But he's like, yeah, he get a couple in him. He's like, Ordinals. Da, da, da. I was like,
Last
all right.
spring, I'm guessing.
So he's trying to explain it to me. I'm
Yeah.
like, so NFTs on Bitcoin? He's like, no, they're ordinals. They're not NFTs. I'm like, okay.
Get the
He's
name
like,
right.
yes. It's like, long story short, I end up doing some UI backend development on ordinals.art. So
Okay.
I got all these images. I probably had like the first 10,000 images. I'm working on doing the website, adding some images to the site, doing some other things. And I'm like, yo, hold on. Let me see. Let me see what this is. But then in the same midst of all that, I had bumped into Frank, well, Rohan, as that was his name then. Now he's Frank at a Bitcoin conference in the coffee line. And we followed each other on social media on Instagram. So I would check his page every so often. So I just happened to go to his page around the same time, and I seen that he had doxed himself a few months prior. He's like, "Yo, I fell off the earth for about a year. I'm back. Sorry guys, but I'm Frank. My life has changed." Da, da, da. I'm like, man, what the hell? So between my buddy calling me to work on ordinals.art and seeing Frank, I was like, I dived in and I haven't looked up since. I've been here almost every day. I did take a small break, I would say back towards the end of the summer. Just got kind of burned out, but I was getting a little burned out because it was so much. But
That was like right around blockoutish, right? You were probably
You're
a
right
little bit.
after.
grinding for a while.
But honestly, what I really wanted to do, my plan was, I said, I want to walk away for like 6 months, 8 months, and come back. And I think this stuff is going to be. I didn't want to come back while I was building. I wanted to come back at Gen Wealth. Like it's here. It's
Yeah.
Come
here.
back in Valhalla.
Yeah, I want to come back to straight Bahala. I'm like, I don't want to ride the ups and downs. I just want to come back and it's like nudge me when we there. People reaching to hit me up.
Almost, maybe.
Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? I'm like, all right. So yeah,
Yeah. Still very well, but yeah, the roller
Came
coaster
back,
keeps turning.
came back, or swap, wallet is hacked,
Oh,
the website's hacked. He started
Yeah,
panicking.
yeah.
He hit
Oh,
me up like, "Yo, how do you get your key, bro?" I said,
yeah,
"Damn, bro."
because I had minted a good decent amount of the bitmaps, but I was buying like certain grails and stuff off of that website. And then I came back. I'm like, yo, I got a nice bag of stuff I actually spent, you know, $200-300.
It's on the MetaMask wallet, and you're like, what the heck do I have to do?
I didn't spend $1 or $2 on these inscriptions. I had spent some money on these ones, and they talking about his sites. Now, what the hell? That was interesting, but yeah, I got those back. I was able to recover that. That was cool, but yeah, man, I think we just, I feel like it's like a gift and a curse. It's just like we're so early, like we're just so early. Like sometimes that can be a bad thing. You just, things can escalate a lot faster than you may anticipate. So you just gotta stay focused and try to make smart decisions.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Mm-hmm.
J-Rod, do you want to give us a little TLDR? Yeah, how'd you get into Web3 in general, crypto, whatever it is?
Yeah, I first got it. My brother had been telling me to get into Bitcoin, probably around since 2014. I kind of like shunned it off, and in 2018, I remember speaking with somebody saying, "Yeah, you need to buy Bitcoin and Litecoin and all this stuff." And I was like, I looked at the price of Bitcoin. It was like $3,300, and I was like, nah, that's a lot of money. I remember I just bought a rental property in South Florida, and I was like all tied up anyway. So around 2020, I started to trade Bitcoin and Ethereum. I was trading like on Gemini, I think. And then come 2021, I remember like February and March, I pulled the trigger on Dogecoin around like 3 cents. And I saw that, do for me like at least it was like a 10x. And then that was it. After I experienced like my first 10x, it just changed my whole perspective on crypto. My wife was just like, you need to learn how to get into these projects before they take off. Wife kind of like pushed me, and I started, learning DeFi. And my brother never got into DeFi. He was just, purchasing crypto straight from sexes. And I was just like, no, I got to get into DeFi. I got to learn this. I remember my first month, I got rugged. I sent my money. I connected my wallet. I think I lost like $400, and I was like, I got discouraged. And my wife is like, no, you need to learn. You need to learn, how to do this. So I just devoted all my time. I knew that there was money to be made. I experienced my second 10x in 2021, right at the height of the bull run, with with another token. And then I just really just focused. All my time was on DeFi at that point. Got into some other projects, and the most important decision that I ever made was learning about Ordinals. I was very fortunate, that I learned about it pretty early. I was kind of like Bitmamba, right after I minted Bitmap, I was jumping into a couple BRC20s, and I just said, all right, I need to take a break. I need to really just put everything on pause. I just cut myself from Twitter. I started learning like a little bit of Python. I started writing a book. And then I wrote a book that's on Amazon, whenlambo.x. And then I also wrote a Bitcoin halvening mini book. So as soon as I wrote those two books, I came back into Twitter, and I knew that I wasn't going to go into my old crypto communities. I was going to go straight into the ordinal spaces. I stumbled across the OSD, and I was like, man, this is the best space in Twitter right now. This is it right here. So there's like-minded people like myself. And yeah, that was probably, I think he probably saw me coming in there right around like Halloween, if I'm not mistaken, or the first week of November.
Fall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to you. Yeah, you've been doing big spaces lately with Bitmap Emporium, and I remember when you first started doing your first kind of own thing. So congrats to you, like,
yeah, thanks.
Spreading those wings, doing your thing, and finding your passions.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty fortunate with Bitmap Emporium because Yeah, I have an OG Cabal status, and that's a big deal right now. So
Nice.
yeah,
Kind of like maybe not guaranteed whitelist, but basically guaranteed whitelist.
yeah, no, it's a guaranteed whitelist. Yeah,
Okay, nice. Very cool. Very
yeah.
cool. Well, appreciate you guys coming for sure. Let's like mix it up a little bit. Maybe Kramer, what have you been looking at lately? What have you been getting into these days since you had more free time? Welcome back.
I'm looking at Bitmamba. I'm getting like a POV from the floor of him breakdancing or something.
What'd you say?
Yeah, you're looking down at me, talking to me like I'm a little kid. What have I been doing? Just kind of holding steady, man. Just got a little more liquidity, selling off some ordinals. Just kind of getting ready for to see what happened with runes and trying not to get wrecked.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Cool. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Well, you've been keeping busy. What have you been up to these days?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm doing a little coding myself. So I do some
Nice.
Solidity right now. I'm thinking about it's like a prerequisite to this class that I'm gonna take. So yeah, just been trying to mentally get situated with that in regards to that. I've been looking at rune stones, just really trying to capitalize on all these airdrops because you know the market moves so fast, man. You know, your
Mhm.
airdrop is worth $200, 230, then the next day is $60, you know. So it's like, you
Or
know,
like
it's
1,000.
right, or 1,000, right. So it's one of those things that you're trying to gauge it,
Mhm.
trying to not stay away from the computer too long, like Bitmamba was saying. And it's
Yeah.
one of those things that the market just moves so fast that, you know, so many different rules play. I
Yeah.
do
Well,
think
you
it'll come
mentioned
back.
it. Let's talk. Let's go do a circle about Runestone. What
Yeah.
are you thinking about Runestone right now?
Um,
Kind of seen a
so
peak and it chilled out a little, and yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think it may run up again when we get close to rooms. So it may be a time to buy, like maybe this week, right? I think. It's not financial advice, but I think it will just start dipping. But then I think there's been some crazy sweeps, so I think the
Hmm.
whales will continuously
Good
sweep that.
support.
Yeah, yeah, good support. Uh, I think the whales will continue to sweep, and like I said, a lot of people like how Leonidas did it, um, and it kind of reminds me of Bitmap with having a very large base of people that's from a lot of different communities. So I think it will be targeted from like we're seeing target with the airdrops, right? Because just think about it. If you can get a small percentage of those people from that's in the runestones and then get them into your project like AMB is doing, if you have like a 9 or 6 in your address in your either your inscription, I think it's your inscription, then they gave you AMB and ordinal. So they're basically trying to get the attention, and it's pretty expensive from what I saw. If you did it the right way, the cheapest route, I think with little diversity, with minimum metadata, it's about to do about 112 is about almost a Bitcoin, like zero point 0.8 to 1 Bitcoin. So that is a considerable investment to airdrop. So as we see, people are doing a lot of claims, whether it's the prophecy, some other people, and they're using Gamma. And like I said, that's just another way to farm the audience. So I think that's the new play. But I prefer the airdrops, but I get the reason why they have the claim set up. So I can see both sides of it. But yeah, I think it could run up again closer to happening, and then it may dip again. But I think the project, the way it was rolled out, its community, I think it's better than how Sats were. And people always talked a lot about Sats, but Unisat had like 30% of the supply. So um, we see it consolidating to around 80,000, maybe a little smaller than that holders probably 70. I speculate probably after the halvening, as more and more people dump after they get the stones. I mean, after they get the runes. But yeah, I still am extremely bullish on that because I just think as more and more people come over, it's going to be the same lore, right? Like, hey, this was given to the most to the OGs. Like, Bitmap is a little harder to really explain. Some people don't like the metaverse play or say, hey, it's almost impossible or it's
More of a
extremely
pure token play, yeah.
yeah, right, exactly. And Runes is going to have the tokens, and we know the Eastern market loves the shitcoin, so I think that's what they have over, Bitmap.
For sure. Yeah, I sold a couple, put a couple in the seal and holding the rest of them. But yeah, kind of just standing pat for now, kind of watching. I playing the liquidium game a little bit to airdrop farm, maybe lock in the price one or here or there. But yeah, Kramer, you said you're getting a little more liquidity, excuse me. You kind of standing pat with runestones, or what are you thinking in that area?
I mean, I'm just trying to see where it's gonna go. Like, I mean, I'm round tripping on my BRC20s and some other stuff. So, you know,
In it for the long haul.
yeah, no, I'm hoping this Unisat swap pops off. Honestly, like the whole Uni Worlds thing, like that wasn't really what I wanted to hear. Like, I want to hear about the swap popping off and not a new metaverse
Side
protocol.
project or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I feel like every time there's like this new protocol, it just dilutes everything. And it just burnt out on that for sure.
Yeah, especially the namespace. Yeah, I completely
Yeah.
agree. And,
It's all
and then they
struggled
said that they're
already.
going to possibly integrate Unisat, SAS names, and possibly bitmaps in the future. So I'm like, what?
Like all namespaces, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Because that was one of the main things with like Bitmap. They said I seen somebody say like DMT took from the space instead of adding to it. They extracted instead of adding value.
Yeah.
Well, that's an
Are you
interesting take.
quoting a certain podcaster? What do you
I remember. I
Don't
was
recall.
I'm
Well,
not
I mean, that is an interesting take, right? Because you're still like the .bitmap namespace never really took off, right? And that's something I know 1 and 2's talked about. So like for that to have one side working really well with like the ones that represent the blocks, and then even .sats, all the other ones have struggled along the way. But then alongside that, just to create a new one, yeah, I was definitely hoping it'd be more of a polished product, and that's kind of what the trailers led you to believe. But like we all know, trailers are one thing, and playable product is a different thing.
true. And then back to Runestone just for a second. I mean,
Mhm.
pretty from what I saw today. I was out earlier celebrating something, but I didn't see. I mean, I saw earlier like most of the projects. It took a little bit of a haircut, except pups. Like, everything else was down, but
Yeah.
pups up. So I mean, they could just be pulling back with everything else.
Yeah, the daily, it's been warm season lately, so a little pullback is a natural thing in the markets. But yeah, I did see that the pups has been like kind of pulling away from the rest of the field a little bit. If you're looking at Magic Eden over the last couple of days, which is cool.
Somebody
Um,
just posted 7 more sales and they flipped Quantum Cats.
wow. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, when Frog's coming back, they've been the laggards. No love for them lately.
At what price would you buy a Frog?
I mean, I definitely have started looking at the floor again. I don't know. I'm not really into the falling knife. Maybe if I saw them getting support again around 0.1, because I know after listening to After Hours, that's a really important support level. So I'm a little hesitant to even think about it right now because I think they could fall farther if they don't kind of bounce back soon. But that's not like also not where I'm looking to. I'm kind of looking at runes, I think that there's going to be opportunity there with having your node ready and getting in on the client line on the first 10 that are programmed in there. That doesn't mean these other ones won't have it, but I think there is going to be, and you're seeing it with R6, right? R6 have cut in half 60% since their peak. So there's people, either kind of cashing in their chips for liquidity or whatever reasons, and probably getting ready for those ones as we move closer to the halving. So that's something I'm keeping in mind as well.
Real quick, can you explain what that runes is going to be for people that?
Sure. So, I mean, the Runes protocol is a UTXO based token protocol that Casey Rodimer, the creator of Ordinals Theory and the Ordinals client, lead developer, is putting out around the halving. Ideally, it's going to be programmed at the halving block. That's the plan as of now. It is interesting, like a little less than a week ago, he did say ideally, kind of maybe sugarcoating that maybe it won't be a perfectly workable product if you read into it a little bit, but it's going to be the first 10 tokens are going to be programmed to launch when the protocol launches. So this made some RSIC people and others, not quite as happy because it's a centralized decision at the end of the day, right? Where RSIC was kind of trying to use this like pre-mining method to front run Casey's protocol coming out. So it's this back and forth of developers just trying to circumvent each other, right? But basically, yeah, the only way to guarantee, just like with Bitcoin, that you get direct access to the network is by running your node. The only way to run an Ordinals or to do an Ordinal is to run Ordinals client over a node and send in your data to the blockchain directly. If you're using a service, their website can go down. If you're doing other things outside of the node, the website can go down, or they could get congestion, or they can mess up, just outright not do what you asked for. We saw that with a website that custodied the UTXO, so a BRC20 didn't go where it was supposed to, right? So that's why I'm making sure is like I have my node ready, and I will use a service if it's more ready to go and free flowing and easy and makes sense. But I definitely want to make sure I have my node ready just to be able to get in there. And it's not going to be easy. It's all client line. So you can do it on Signet now. That's a good way to get practice. I haven't personally done it. I've just talked to people that have, and then I'm getting my node ready to just be ready that first day. And, I might end up burning some sats and fees might be crazy. So I'm even considering just holding off, let the craziness ensue. Maybe it dumps and then I come in on that second wave. But I just want to be ready as the halving comes with every, tool in the toolbox, even if I don't end up using it.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for explaining that. That's I better get my node up and running then.
Yeah. And for anybody that hasn't like set up the org client, obviously you can ask questions, come by the Ordinal support desk and things like that. But basically the first step is to go to bitcoincore.org, start downloading the blocks from their easily downloadable executable file. You can do your own research, look around, make sure it's the right link, all the normal things you do in crypto. But just getting the blockchain downloaded is the first big step. And then the Ordinals client is an indexing client that you would put on top of it. So essentially, you're just shoving some extra files that do more stuff on top of your Bitcoin core. And then like something that I've been interested in is open protocol indexing, and OPI.network. You can get information about that. But that's the indexing layer for all meta protocols, Runes, BRC20s, bitmaps, naming services that's being developed by Best and Slot with partners like Unisat, Alex Labs, Layer 1 Foundation, etc. So ideally that will get us to like white module, and like Kramer was mentioning, the swap system, Unisat, some of these projects getting buttoned up in the near future, because once the halving comes, we have another competitor on the market. So BRC20s does have this update coming in the near future as well. So there's going to be a lot of competition in that space.
Yeah, I feel like if runes aren't any easier to obtain than BRC20s, like the whole transfer process with BRC20s, like buying and like,
yeah, it's going to be January of Ordinals all over
it's
again.
going to be the same problem. And I don't know. It might not get all the
10 to 15 developers at the client line are going to be front running people. Yeah. Or maybe it's 150 this time, but then gas is just higher. So yeah, I know people are working on it, but like we know with a website, if it gets overloaded, it gets overloaded. There's nothing anybody can do. Or if it gets DDoS for whatever reason, there's a lot of things that can happen when you're just dealing with internet websites.
So let's say for whatever reason you're not able to mint like runes, whatever the first runes is. How
Mhm.
much are you aping in from the door as soon as it hits secondary?
That's a good question. I don't know. It's tough, right? So probably that first one.
Number gotta go up though, right?
Yeah.
So,
No,
I mean,
Yeah, but it can
is it gonna do
correct.
the is it gonna
It's
do an ordi where it spikes and then bottoms out for 3
yeah.
months and you get opportunity, or is it gonna be, at that level and just carry a high value and then maybe dump, right? Like how's this hype cycle really gonna play out? Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
I think
Who's the,
the common denominator there is like for runes is like deja vu, like you're getting another chance. I think back then it was a lot of
I think that's what
uncertainty
they're going for, right?
that it was like you really go. I mean, kind of going out on a limb, so to speak. Maybe not. You might have had a little bit of conviction, but if we all knew what we knew now, we would have probably all here sitting here would have probably did everything a
Oh yeah,
million times.
ordi.
A lot of
Right.
things. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, that's the topic of discussion. So yeah, Ordy, but uh,
Or
yeah,
bitmaps or set, what I mean? Pick your
See, I
poison.
mean, the thing, it was a little different then because Casey never liked that. And I remember coming into spaces, everybody didn't like the BRC-20. They were like ordinals because digital artifacts came out in December. So everybody was like, yeah, we don't like the shit coin in. So
Yeah.
there's still artists in the space that say, hey, I'm not a token guy. I'm here for the art, even though that's a smaller
Or it was
percentage.
the
But
hack on the hack. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And some people just thought it was dumb, right? Like I saw it going through the mempool. They were like, this would never work. So
who's like,
now more people are anticipating it. Now there's more eyes on it. Now
Mhm.
it's like maybe it will go up and then trade sideways and not dip as much as Ordy did because we're not trying to miss it again.
In these pre-mined runes, there's been a longer marketing period. What were you gonna say, Kramer?
Yeah.
no, I'm just gonna say like exactly that. Like, who's the biggest influencer outside of Ordinals you've heard about runes? Like, I think the only person I can think of off the top of my head is like Thread Guy, maybe. Um,
I mean, Leonidas and Tio have a very big reach.
yeah, that's true.
And then, I mean, the OMB cabal has definitely been spreading out throughout ETH and Solana a lot more, I'd say, in the last quarter, especially with the Orange Eye expansion. That's been helping.
I mean, it's like after these like first 8 or 10 rune stones or whatever pop out, it's like what makes it where it's not just another like CBRC 20 or TAP or
And with 13 letters,
100 or whatever the fuck, like
I
that's
guess
the
the
weirdest
difference
wrinkle
there
in
is
my, yeah.
the difference is it's Casey's project, the father that started it all. Everybody else, you could take with a grain of salt, so to speak.
But if it's not any easier to use than the other stuff, and we gotta wait for this guy to build this and all that, and like, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. So on a scale of 1 to 10, let's say BRC-20 friction is a 5. What is Rune's friction?
It's a good question. So, from my understanding currently, and I'm actually trying to get on a call later to get more information on this. So, I'll give you like what I know on the front end. It has lower indexing, it's UTXO based, right? So you can list it just like an ordinal, no transfer inscription, but it does have indexing needs on the back end. So once you split an original amount, right? Like I give you 10 of the J25 token, we have to keep track of that, transfer down the line. So that has an indexing need, right? But if it's like atomicals and it uses color coin, if I wanted to send less than 546 sats because of the dust limit, that's why you see the atom packages in 1,000 and only sold in 1,000. I've been told it's going to be more of an ordinals model, so 546 sats with 10 million tokens in said UTXO. But then I don't and it acts like the UTXO is like a wallet. I don't understand how you transfer token to next UTXO to then sell, right? Because if you sold the original UTXO, you'd sell all 10 million. But if say I want to sell 1 million, I need to transfer that token allotment to a different UTXO. I don't understand that process if it's not using like splitting Satoshi's method. So what I've heard, and I want to find out more because I just don't know, is that you do some operation still with the network. Because if you're not putting data on the blockchain, then you're just using a meta protocol indexer off chain, right? And then that would be, not as good a method, in my opinion.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And obviously it's not implemented yet. So, right, we have to see, day one, does it work, right? Are they able to trade it? I think it will because it's UTXOs and, right, they've been working on it a long time, but, it's still something we have to see on the market working.
So yeah,
Right on.
I think a lot of people faded Gen Wealth, originally in Ordinals, and a lot of people printed Gen Wealth. So I think Runes is a second chance. And then of course, like you said, you got the East people coming over, Soul coming over, you got a lot of other people coming over too. This may be their chance to, kind of get in from ground zero, so to speak.
Yeah, and just because I'm not sure of something technically, that doesn't matter at all, honestly, with number go up, down, left, or right. Right. That's just me intellectually curious on how the protocol works. I still think, yes, there's going to be a ton of liquidity about it. Look, there's already a ton of liquidity and it's not even out yet, right? With all these pre-ordinal processes. So yeah, it's definitely something to be in mind. If you can't get your ordinals client up, have multiple options. Try and find out any websites and things that are doing it. Be safe though. Don't click any links that you're not 100% sure about. Talk to people that you can about some of these safe places and just do your own research because there's going to be a ton of people out there trying to get your attention with runes, as we see just even with these airdrops, different claims, whatever it may be. So yeah, I think we're kind of winding down there. So let's go, one more time around and maybe just give what are your thoughts, maybe post halving, big thing that stood out to you recently or whatever. We'll give it to J Rod first. Been quiet for a little bit.
Yeah, so one thing that's pretty big right now that's captured my attention is Bakamoto. He started tweeting probably about 3 days ago, approximately. He inscribed index.bitmap on, I forgot what the inscription is off the top of my head, but
It's all good.
yeah, he basically, that's going to be an interesting concept that I think is going to spark a fire for future bitmap development, like pretty soon. So the fact that he's tweeting, he's liking, he's pretty active. He actually followed me a couple days ago, so that kind of tells me he's really active and he wants to do things again. So maybe he was on vacation. I don't know, but I think that's very important for the future development of bitmap, considering he was the one that developed the bitmap theory.
Definitely.
Yeah. So post halving, I think that cross our fingers with Merlin Seal, wrap maps, develops into something where maybe central exchange can get some type of future there with the central exchange and outside investors that aren't into DeFi, that they can actually
just more liquidity.
purchase. Yeah, and I think if that is successful, and everybody, Merlin Seal unseals properly, I think that Bitmap will go to the multi-billions. It's not financial advice, but I would say anywhere from 7,000 to 10,000 maybe next year if everything works out properly. So
Well, that's a good point
yeah,
with
I got
like wrap maps right around the corner. It could be liquidity just kind of waiting to the simpler on ramp than, you know, buying bitmaps on Magic Eden or whatever website, a chunk here, a chunk there. Right. They could
yeah.
come in with 6 figures, whatever, 7 figures if they want to. So that's always a good point. If you know that's right around the corner, why not just wait till it comes out? So Bitmamba,
Yeah.
yes, same questions to you. Or sorry, to J Rod, did you have something to add?
No, I was just gonna say that all it takes is one project, successful project building on Bitmap, and it's gonna be on like Donkey Kong.
Yep, definitely.
What were those 3 or 4 questions again?
72 of them. Yeah, just I've kind of open forum to you. Like, what are you thinking post halving, or what's kind of popped out to you recently that maybe we didn't already mention, or just your closing thoughts?
I'm just excited, man. Probably like everybody else.
Cool.
Optimistic. I think that, you know, number definitely is going to go up on a lot of things. Regarding
You're
Bitmap,
saying it's early still. Yeah.
yeah. I just feel like we haven't seen. I just think that everything has always in crypto, at least for me, everything has always exceeded any expectations I had or opinions that I, you know, took at face value. It was um, like I remember just a quick story. 10 years ago, losing a little bit of money in BitConnect, and you could only transfer to this one offshoot exchange. And I was like, with this little bit of money, what I'm gonna do? And I bought a bunch of Dogecoin. And I remember telling like my mentor at the time in crypto, yeah, I bought like almost like 1 million of these coin. I don't know what it's like. Oh, that's just a meme coin. It's a fucking shit coin. I'm like, well, if it ever hits this, it might be worth. And yeah, of course, you know, several years later, it hit what I said it could possibly hit. But I was told, no, it can't do that. It won't do that. You know how to do math? It's not possible. But so I just say that to say that in crypto, it just always exceeds our expectations. So,
Yeah.
Bitmap, yeah, I'm on the same wavelength. I think when we've all been waiting on these wrap maps. As you said, J25, someone just wants to ape in a few $100,000, $1 million. It's going to be much easier to do, and I think that's when we'll really, you know, start to see the momentum train pick back up in that capacity. Of course, you're going to have the competitors. We'll see how those shake out. But overall, man, I'm bullish. You know, I'll slowly curate content in the background, waiting for the right time to drop certain smaller collections. I'm really excited to see what the Mamba year 2024 has in store for us. Most definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Well, definitely. Thank you both for coming, and I'll give it to 1 and 2, and we'll finish up with Kramer.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just excited about seeing bitmaps being built out, Batoshi coming back, creating the parent-child inscription, um, Bitmap Emporium, um, all types of builders. People have built a bridge. Now you can bring your BRC 420 assets over. It's a pretty cool asset that's on BRC 420. Jeff is supposed to be open sourcing the BRC 420 website. So yeah, a lot of exciting things are coming. Like you guys said, rooms are coming. Yeah, so I think we're going to see. Um, Honestly, I hear a lot of new people coming into Ordinals also. A lot of people are excited. Ethereum, I've been on pretty big spaces, and some of these people have just came in. They got in their first Ordinals. Le Puppets. That brought some women into Ordinals.
Timely
Um,
collection and Women's Month. Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's exciting to see, the halving is coming up next month. So
Yeah,
everything is lining up just right. So we'll see in the next couple months.
for sure. Yeah, and ideally Kramer and I at NFT NYC can tease out a few more things. But yeah, what are you looking forward to? I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, man, definitely looking forward to meeting everybody face to face in the flesh. That'll be fun. Yeah, with the
Show us all the good
markets.
pizza joints.
Yeah, I'll show you a bunch of good food, man. Yeah,
Hmm.
like
Are
I'm a
getting on the bus?
What's that?
Are y'all getting on T.O.'s bus?
I don't know. Isn't he just like renting one of those tourist buses?
I
Like,
don't know if I'll be on the list.
You gotta have a pizza ninja. You know that, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm
whatever. Maybe like someone that's working the door will see my ninja alert and be like, yeah, come on in, you know. But
coming up. What spots y'all what part are y'all most excited about?
with the event,
Yes.
I heard there's like a yacht party. I don't know who
Experts or somebody, emojis maybe.
Remilio's having like some dance party down in Dime Square. There's
Lazy with the frogs.
I hope Shizzy can get me into his party with French Montana. He doesn't fucking shake me down because I didn't get an OG pass. But
Yes.
I'll help you out. I got two.
hell yeah, dude. Awesome. Yeah, I guess I'll be your date.
What event are you do the most?
I actually really don't know a ton of the events. I'm more of like a show up and go with the flow dude, but I've heard about Lazy's event for months now. Seems like a really cool dude who just wants to give back and have a fun time in his city. So I appreciate that. It kind of reminds me of just like your buddy you'd go visit to a different college or something back in those days, and he'd want to show you around town. Oh, this is where I go drink. This is the pizza joint I go to late night, that kind of stuff. So yeah, just looking forward to just being in the city, having a good time with some dudes I always mess around on the internet and go from there. And obviously, hopefully tease out a couple alpha things, this and that. Maybe talk to a few people about runes. And it's I went to Bitcoin Miami last spring, actually almost a year ago, and that was really kind of what sparked me into Ordinals. I went last minute. I bought my ticket on Tuesday, showed up Friday morning, and was just like met great people, learned a bunch about it really, really fast. And that's what set me off to the races. Didn't make every play, didn't do everything right, but just been around, keep showing up. And, it's been fun along the way. So I just want to say thanks to everybody again. And yeah, let's do this again soon. And we'll see everybody at the OSD and everywhere else. Good luck to everybody on their projects coming up, small, big, and otherwise. Cheers.
And we are out.